take it away.
Thank you. So I'm going to say something that might change how you see yourself. You're not stuck. You're patterned. There's a difference. Stuck feels like something's wrong with you. Pattern means your body learns something and it's repeating it automatically without asking you. That's why you can know better and still react the same way, because this isn't happening in your thinking brain. It's happening in your body, in your emotional brain. And that part of you doesn't respond to logic. It responds to experience. And smell goes straight there. There's no filter. There's no delay. You smell something and your body shifts before you even think that's the doorway. So when we use oils, we're not just trying something natural. We're accessing the part of you that actually creates change. We're good. Yeah. Thanks, man. So let's take this one step deeper. This is your emotional brain right here. This part of your brain isn't thinking things through. It's scanning, predicting, reacting based on what you've already lived. It's wired for survival. So it stores emotional experiences and uses them as a reference point, which means before you even have time to think, your body has already decided how to respond. That's why you can catch yourself after the fact thinking, why did I just do that? You didn't choose it in that moment. It was already wired. So this isn't about willpower. It's not even about trying harder. It's about patterns and where those patterns live. Because if the pattern lives here, you can't always think your way out of it. You have to access the system directly. And that's where what we just talked about comes in. Scent gives you a direct line in, which is why oils aren't just supportive, they're strategic. So our educators tonight is myself and Amanda, and I'm starting us off. And so just to give you a little bit of background about me, I am Carolyn, and I got into using essential oils really to help my son with learning, focus, and nervous system regulation. And then what I got out of it was a whole shift in our home because we were calmer, we were able to handle our emotions differently, and things that used to trigger us didn't do so in the same way. And so that's when I realized this isn't just about scent. It's something real that's happening in the brain and the body. So that moment sent me down a path of understanding emotions, patterns, and how to actually move what we've been holding on to. And that's the work I do now. I'm going to hand it over to you, Amanda.
We're so blessed to have you on because having an expert in just all of those realms is such a beautiful thing to bring to this presentation. So for me, my background's in social work. I worked over 20 years in the field and really got to learn about the emotions and our gut health and how we store different things in the body and got to see it firsthand for myself. Working in the field, super stressful. And, a field that doesn't give you a break, even though we're taught you should take self-care, you should do self-care. I don't know if anyone else is in the field of helping. You're told to do it, but there's not really opportunities to. So in 2008, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that took me on this whole trajectory and learning about my body and awareness of what stress does to the body and where we store it and how it manifests itself. And I can look back now, almost 20 years later, and say, not 20 years, whatever, 18 years later, how many things in my life I was storing and holding on to, and what that did to manifest itself into my cancer growing faster. So let me repeat that. It's not that it caused cancer, but it's that it caused my cancer to grow faster. So that was the weak spot in my body that created this and wreaked havoc. So I have to be really careful as I'm going through my life and as I'm going through day-to-day stuff to keep my cortisol levels down, to manage those emotions, not to not have them, but to be able to really just control them and understand what they're doing in my body, and then take those moments and use the things like the power of essential oils and the power of scent to really be able to shift that. So you've got both of our names on there. We're both on social media. Feel free to follow us as well, and you can learn more as we, do our fun things on there. So, oh, it's going fast for me today for some reason. So we'll just keep going. So these are some fun things that I think when I teach about the brain, like our brain health, that we don't really realize. Most people, and I don't know, maybe put like a one in the chat, if you were someone before this workshop that thought that you actually smelled with your nose. Put a one in there if you thought that you smell, you smell things, you smell it with your nose. The reality is, we don't smell with our nose. We smell with our brains. Our brains are those emotional control systems that it goes in, and that limbic system goes, what does this scent give me? Pain, bad memories, or pleasure, good memories. And so that's the only scent that goes straight to that emotional brain without being filtered. You have no ability to filter it. Your brain can react to a scent in as little as 0.2 seconds. So the second it smells something, boom, your brain and your body are triggered by that. You are 100 times more likely to remember something you smell versus see or hear. And I know most of us can think of some things. I'm going to give you some examples in the next one that will probably trigger some good memories for you. Scents are directly linked to memory and emotional experiences. Your brain processes smells even when you're not consciously aware of them. So when you think about people that, are have dementia or are in a coma, those sense of smells can be even more powerful at those times. You can smell while you sleep. Your brain is still receiving signals. So having that diffuser going at nighttime is super powerful for you. And then we can detect over 1 trillion different scents and probably more as the brain's developing. And we have 100,000 chemical reactions per second. And that's crazy. Like, that's not just a little, we're going boom, boom, boom. And as we're doing that, essential oils can influence all of these. So we're going through that limbic brain, and then our neurotransmitters are going boom, boom. What do we need to do and react to all of this? So, some really cool things that I hope that you guys didn't know all of these things and these have become a little bit new to you. So, as we inhale something, this is what's happening. And we're just not even going to use essential oils for this. I'm going to go back to like just a plain smell. I want you to breathe and remember breathing something in that when you smelled it, it makes you think of something that you love, something that brings you joy, something that makes you feel good. And so when you kind of think of that and you smell it, your brain immediately takes you to that space. And so for me, Christmas morning, we always had clementines in our stocking. I don't know, it was a thing, but we got to open those or eat those before we got to open up any presents. And Christmas morning was so much fun for me. So the smell of clementines brings me right back to my childhood and being in that moment of like Christmas presents and craziness and so much joy and fun. I'm sure most of you guys can think of a pleasant smell. Sometimes it's even just like the smell of a bakery. You drive by and you're like, oh, that smells like grandma's, like her fresh bread. I love fresh bread. So that's your limbic brain going, ooh, what's that smell? Now, myself and Carolyn might have a different response to a smell. I might love tangerines, and she might have had someone smush a tangerine in her face when she was little and go, I hate tangerines. It's the same smell, but our bodies are responding differently due to that memory. So you're actually shifting that internal state immediately based upon that. I learned that when I was in social work, and it was what we were taught was don't personalize some of the reactions that people have to you. It may be based on a smell that they're smelling. And so your fabric softener or your essential oils or your perfume might remind them of someone that was not good to them or not in a good situation. And so that would trigger them and their responses be very negative towards you. And the way I say of it, think of like an ex-boyfriend, an ex-girlfriend, even a friend, and you remember their perfume and now you hate that perfume. That's the same thing. So those pieces are exactly the things that we're looking for as we're triggering smells. The cool thing is that we can actually condition our brain. So, like a spa has conditioned our brain. Every time you think of us going to a spa, most people think of the smell eucalyptus. Spas have actually conditioned us. So you can do the same. So as we're going through this presentation, I want you to think of essential oils and scents because these are super easy to carry around with you. carrying around a tangerine in my pocket year round is not necessarily going to be the easiest way to get that smell. So being able to carry an essential oil is going to be able to allow you to train your brain and use that smell and condition it. So it's super fun to be able to do that. So while we're looking at our nervous system and calming our nerves, I want you to understand we don't need a million different tools. We don't need to have like tons and tons of tons. You don't need to overhaul your whole life tonight after this workshop and go, oh my gosh, I need to do this. Your nervous system is always listening. It's always listening with all of its senses. When you're stressed, your body is sitting in that constant fight or flight. So that was me pre-cancer diagnosis, right? And your cortisol's high, your tension's high, overwhelm's high. So we're going to give you these tips along the way to just be able to kind of take that breath, relax, and use these tools. So when you inhale that essential oil, you're conditioning your brain, you're safe. So, what I encourage people to do, and this is something that people often will do wrong, is they will smell. So, I have Motivate here. I love Motivate. People will smell that smell when they're stressed. They're like, I'm so stressed. I'm going to layer on Shinrin Yoku or Adaptive. What's happening to the brain is you're conditioning it. Every time I'm stressed, I smell Adaptive. So, your brain's going to start going, Adaptive reminds me of being stressed. So I want you to do it the other way. I want you to do it when you're in that calm state, when you are feeling relaxed, when you're doing yoga, when you're with your kids, whatever it is. I want you to bring that smell in and start conditioning your brain. You're going to support your body in that moment. And then you're going to be able to use that oil later on and go, that oil brings me back to being in a calm place in my house or being at the spa or whatever it is. The best part is you're doing it naturally and you've got tools to be able to do that really, really simply by either rolling in your hands, having a roller, nasal inhalers, different ways like that. They don't need to be complicated. Hope that makes sense. You're up. Oh, you're muted. So
Thank you. My phone was going off. So, what are essential oils? They are the lifeblood of the plant. Plants make these compounds for a reason. Essential oils are made of bioactive plant compounds, so they protect it, they communicate, heal it, and help it survive, and they interact with our biology. So when we use them, we borrow that intelligence. They're also incredibly potent. So 1 drop of peppermint oil is the equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So little goes a long way. And this is where quality really matters because not all oils are created equal. And this is why sometimes people will say they don't work. This is why both Amanda and myself personally choose doTERRA because when you're working with the brain and body, purity matters. doTERRA uses rigorous testing to ensure every bottle is free from contaminants and actually contains what the label says. And they source plants from the native environments because where and how the plant grows directly impacts its chemistry. And let's be honest, if essential oils can influence your brain, mood, and nervous system, don't you want to be sure what you're using is actually pure and effective? So low quality oils might smell nice, but high quality oils actually do something. And once you experience the difference in how your body responds, it's really hard to go back to anything else. Next slide, Amanda. Thank you. Where we hold emotions in the body. So something we want you to really take in is that your body and your emotions are always working together. Your body remembers what your mind tries to move past. So when something hasn't been processed, it doesn't just disappear, it gets stored. So sadness and grief often end up in your chest, so your breathing can be affected. Fear and anxiety can live in your adrenals, and that's with that sort of constant on edge feeling. Carrying too much shows up in your shoulders, so we often say, I'm carrying the weight of the world. Anger, frustration, that tends to sit in the liver. And guilt or not feeling good hits the gut. So your body isn't working against you, it's actually communicating with you. And when you understand something is being held, you can start to support it intentionally. And this is where essential oils become so powerful because you're not just guessing, you're supporting the emotion, the system, and the body at the same time. And that's when healing becomes something you work with and not force. Your body's always speaking, and this just helps you finally understand the language. And I have a healing practitioner. Her name is Jessie Morrison, and she told me one time that pain stands for pay attention inward now. And that's never left me. And really, when you start to look at where I often have my clients I'll have them put their hand on their chest and a hand on their belly. So that helps you get out of the head, out of your thinking brain and into your body. And then take 3 deep breaths. And then just feel where you're holding on to tension or where you've got pain in the body. And then start to look at those areas and what they represent. And then you can also look to the right and left side of the body. So if it's something like your right knee, the right represents the masculine side of the body and the left is the feminine. So it's masculine is more typically about taking action and the feminine is about being in receiving. So if you get that, often I use sort of, if you think about your right knee or your right foot, it's often about you're afraid to move forward and taking action. So it's your body is intelligent, and when we get quiet and look inward and slow down, all the information is there. So that's it really is when we understand that, we can really help support ourselves.
Now, I have a question for you, Carolyn, just because I think it's so cool where we hold. So if I have like tightness, so I carry most of my stress in my shoulders. I like neck and shoulders is like my tension spots. So in terms of using essential oils, would I be putting them then like right on those spots? So if it was like, I mean, neck is easier because I might put deep blue there, but like if it was kidney, bladder, adrenals, like is that how we're using them then?
Absolutely. That's a really great way. Also, your meridians. So essential oils sort of follow Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine and following the meridians and acupressure points in the body. So you can really target your body system that way. Where I often, because our tension is typically up in the upper body, also in the chest area, and we start taking more shallow breathing. So I often have clients put oils right up the forearm, and all the way up, because that directly goes up into the pericardium, which is your heart and lung area. So you're directly impacting that. So it's a little faster way to target those emotions.
I love that. Thank you.
All right. So brain effects with mood, stress, and memory. Excuse me. So essential oils can actually influence how your brain functions. They support communication between brain cells and they help protect neurons. Some compounds even cross the blood-brain barrier, which is huge because they actually reach brain tissue by directly supporting and protecting the brain cells, reducing inflammation and stress impact on the brain and supporting brain function at a deeper level. So when we speak about mood, your emotions are actually chemical reactions in the brain. And essential oils can influence those reactions, especially things like serotonin and dopamine. This is why something as simple as diffusing citrus can shift your mood. So it's not just mindset, it actually is chemistry. And stress is one of the biggest disruptors in the body, and chronic stress actually changes how the brain functions. It keeps you stuck in fight or flight, and essential oils help regulate cortisol, which is the stress hormone. They basically tell your body you're safe. Excuse me. And the hippocampus for memory the hippocampus is your memory center. It's directly connected to smell, and that's why certain smells instantly bring you back memories, and oils can actually support and protect memory over time. So you can see where Alzheimer's patients in particular, it's good. Essential oils are good for any age and stage of life, really. They're supportive on all levels for all of us.
I love that. And it's so true because I've worked with some people in some retirement homes and I've brought in different oils and the look on their face when they smell something. And I don't have the memory that's associated with it, but I have them just pick. And you can just see like that, like light shine in their face. And it has nothing to do with me because I didn't know what the memory was, but it's amazing what our brain is storing, even though we might not be. And someone asked in the questions, if you have lost your sense of smell, does this still work?
It does. And you can retrain your brain as well with using with essential oils. I actually have a client that was able to bring some back by using essential oils. So they're powerful.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go into the most effective ways to use these oils. And I think aromatic really gets underrated. A lot of people go, oh, I just throw something in the diffuser. And for mind and mood, this is the most impactful for brain impact. So whether you have a diffuser going, whether you just put a drop in your hands and you breathe them in, or you've got like a diffuser jewelry, however you're doing that, those molecules bind to your olfactory receptors, and then that influences your emotions in that limbic brain. So when we look for that emotional response that we're wanting to shift the mood, stress, anxiety, focus, mental clarity, all of those ones that just you want something quick and fast. Remember the fact in the beginning of really how fast it impacts your brain and how fast it can change? Boom. So I love diffusing my essential oils, especially throughout the day. But this is why Motivate sitting on my desk when I'm just feeling a little bit blah. It's literally like draped all over me to be able to just breathe that in and be able to inhale it. Topical is, and what Carolyn was talking about earlier, is targeted at that body, right? So where you're feeling that tension and stress and being able to apply that to the pulse points, the bottom of your feet, those areas of concerns, kind of looking at that and it's soothing those muscles and it's getting circulation moving throughout your body. So if you've got those stored emotions in those different spots, being able to release them. I always say I'm not trained in acupressure or acupuncture, but you can easily look at like Google it and you can easily look at some of those spots. And I'm not going to get them exactly right, like a trained professional would. But if you can apply the essential oils on those spots, so if you're having some digestive issues and put Zengest or Digesten on those acupressure points, you will see a difference, right? And so being able to use them in those different targeted areas and hormone and organ supports. And then, of course, with doTERRA oils, the beauty of them is you can ingest them. So you're getting that support from within, whether you take it in a veggie capsule, under the tongue, in water, however you're doing, but you're getting that brain health. And we talked about right from the beginning, essential oils can get right into that brain and they can break that blood-brain area barrier, especially something like frankincense oil. So we've got powerful antioxidants in some of our essential oils. So when you're looking for that gut-brain connection, I love Copaiba internally, especially at nighttime to help me just relax, to help me just chill. I also will use it for pain. So being able to use those. And then fun fact in here, most of our supplements, so like our LLV, our MetaPower Advantage, all of our essential oil infused supplements have essential oils in them. So you're taking those in too. So just some great ways to be able to use those. Okay. So hormones, emotions, and essential oils. Well, we could go through probably like 25 different oils of what we love and all of that, but we figured we'd keep it really kind of simple to a couple things. If there's some specific things you're wanting, let us know. We've got a couple slides on it, but because as females, especially men too, but our hormones are so all over the place with cortisol levels being high, and our limbic system is directly connected to the hypothalamus, which controls our hormones. So we need to get our hormones, our hypothalamus, our cortisol, our fight and flight under control. So we're not just feeling better, we're actually influencing all of that. So your hormones are not separate from your emotions. And so I will feel, especially because I'm surgical menopause, when I am stressed, those hot flashes spike up even more, right? So pay attention to your body. Everything we've been talking about today, the limbic system, the nervous systems, they're all connected. But especially for women, our estrogen, progesterone affect us so much more than we realize. They impact mood, clarity, and even things like heart health and your blood sugar levels. So, looking at all of those things to be able to support you when you don't feel like yourself or you're feeling off, it might be hormonal, or like saying it's menopausal, but it's not something to fight. It's something that you've got tools here to be able to support and throw that in there. For men, it's a little bit different. Their pressures often expressed as anger. So you'll see that they're trying to hold it all together, or they've got that pressure to perform or protect. And so when we see that, it isn't emotional, it's chemical. And when that anger arises, everything kind of increases and the body just constrict, and that heart has a hard time. And over time, has an impact on the body. So this is a blend that I love to balance hormones. Put in a roller bottle. Again, you can put it across the abdomen, feet, or I do the inside of the ankles as well. I do it every night. I know it says the week before and during your cycle, but really whatever feels good for you. It's got some beautiful essential oils in there. So here's some top oils that we kind of, like for some of this. So uplifting mood when you're feeling low, you're feeling disconnected, you're looking at dips in the serotonin and dopamine. This is why bergamot is one of the most used for this, and all of your citrus oils to just uplift. And then, interestingly enough, we've got like rose and frankincense that just also help to bring that clarity into your body and to your heart center. And so I just love, I mean, for me, it's the citrus oils because I feel like it's liquid sunshine, especially during the blahs of winter. Those are my favorite in there. Your anxiety is the brain stuck in overdrive. So when we see high cortisol, we see low GABA, and then the brain just can't calm down. It's like spinning. I call it the monkey brain. It's where it's like going and going and going, and it just can't stop. Even if you're not diagnosed with ADHD, you can't always control your thoughts or what's coming out, but you can calm that part of the brain that's creating all of that by using your essential oils. So some top oils for that: lavender, melissa, frankincense, sandalwood, Roman chamomile, your serenity system, obviously, and it goes ties into stress too, but your adaptive system in there as well. And then, as Carolyn said, stress is one of the biggest disruptors in your body. That's why I say it's the thing that I feel like helped my cancer to grow faster in my own body. So when we are in chronic stress states, your brain function changes. It keeps you stuck there. And what happens to your body is your body goes, well, I don't want to be there. I want to be in a state of homeostasis. And so what happens if you don't regulate it, your body raises up that level of normal. And so now you just don't feel stressed, but your internal organs are stressed still. And so you don't want that. You want to use the essential oils, your product, and your tools to breathe, take those breaths, and do all of that to tell your body that you're safe. So instead of just using oils, I love this. You're actually learning how to shift your brain on demand. So you should be able to smell something like I can smell Motivate now, and I'm just like, ooh, like I got energy. You should be able to do that with your essential oils. So play with it. You've got your lavender, your balance, your adaptive, frankincense, ylang ylang, citrus, spikenard, all of those ones for kind of stress, and Bevet are in there. Cool.
Okay, so behavior, focus, and memory oils. Behavior is a pattern that the brain has learned. So when the emotional brain feels unsafe or overstimulated, the behavior shifts, and we typically get irritability or reactivity, impatience. These oils here, so lavender, ylang ylang, cedarwood, vetiver, and bergamot, are really great at helping you calm that response so that you can choose instead of react. And focus and attention. Focus, again, is a brain chemistry issue, so it's not about willpower. Peppermint and rosemary, too. I love these two oils for this in particular. It's amazing for kids. They do really well with this. But even for us to use for work or if you're on a long drive, it just helps to bring the brain back into a state where clarity and attention are possible. Memory and learning. Memory is deeply connected to the emotional brain. So what we feel, what we remember. Stress and overload block our ability to retain and process information. So the oils listed here support the brain's ability to absorb, store, and recall, especially when learning feels difficult. So oils such as clary sage, again, peppermint here, rosemary, frankincense, and clove. Cellular health and healthy habits. So habits are wired into the brain, and oils can help interrupt the patterns and create new ones. So these oils listed here, in particular, black pepper and citrus, clary sage, patchouli, and peppermint, they all support the cellular health and help the body feel balanced, making it easier to create new, healthier habits. So when we are feeling better, it helps us make better decisions. And then a recipe corner. So I would suggest actually taking a picture of this and really, really just, we want to make it simple and usable. And so you don't have to start with each one of these blends. You just choose one that resonates with you. They're all designed to support the brain and emotions to be used throughout the day. So, and again, Amanda mentioned this, but diffusing is one of the easiest ways to influence the emotional brain quickly. And you can also put these into a roller bottle for on-the-go support. And what's important here is consistency matters more than complexity. So using the same blend regularly helps your brain recognize safety and create new patterns. And then pay attention to how you're feeling. It's and not just what you're using, because your body will tell you what it needs. So it's intelligent. And again, just getting quiet and tapping into how you're actually feeling is a great assessment on what your body needs. And then what we do wrong sometimes. So most people really aren't stuck because they're doing nothing. They're stuck because they're doing the wrong things. They're trying to think their way out of patterns when the emotional brain is the one running them. So no matter how much they know, they keep going back to what feels familiar. They're treating the symptom. So things, you know, like we're looking at stress or digestion or mood, but we're not asking what's underneath this. So we're really ignoring the body and just pushing through or overriding and disconnecting when the body is actually trying to communicate something. So again, tapping into your body and just listening and paying attention. They're also feeling, if you're waiting to feel motivated, but motivation doesn't come after the system feels supported, it comes, it's not before, it comes after it's supported. And people are often using tools, but not consistently enough for the brain to feel safe and create a new pattern. Basically, the message here really is you can't outthink a pattern that lives in the body. So instead of forcing change, what if we supported the system so change could actually happen?
I love that. I think we're all guilty of this. I know myself too, right? Like I'm sure all of us can be like, yeah, there's some of these things that I just like, especially the inconsistent tools. I'm like, why? Why are I consistent with it? Like I know it works. So, but just these are being on these classes are the reminders to like bring back out those tools to get you there. So when we bring this back to the idea that healing at its core flows, when the body is in flow, then energy moves, right? And so when energy moves, then we've got the emotions move, the digestion moves, and everything then works the way it's designed to work. But when something gets blocked or there's one area that's not working, an emotion we didn't process, stress we've been holding on to, patterns that we keep repeating, or things that we keep doing, we just don't feel it mentally. We feel it in the body. And that's where doing that body scan that Caroline talked about in the beginning really helps. And so, one of the biggest places it shows up is in the gut. And that gut brain connection has been talked about for so many years. And I think finally we're starting to pay attention to it more. But that heaviness, that tightness, and the easiest way, if you don't believe that this is true about the gut brain and connection, to think about this is you are going up a roller coaster and you're going up that big hill and you've gone to the bathroom before. You've like, you're not going to die. But what happens is that all of a sudden the stress responses start coming and you have to go pee, or you feel like you're going to throw up, or you feel like, and that gut and the brain are telling each other mixed messages and stories. And your body is so connected. So I just want you to think about that, or skydiving, all those adrenaline rushing things, how important some of those things are. So healing isn't about forcing the body to fix it to fix itself. It's about removing those blocks. So removing that tension in the neck, removing those things so the body can get back to homeostasis, get back to its natural rhythm, and it can keep going from there. So this is where our tools come in of foundational health. Essential oils are your symptomatic relief. Your supplements are your foundation. And so the way that I love to be able to teach this is everyone knows the game Jenga, and you can think about we take a block from the bottom and we put it on top. That base is your foundation. So when we've got that foundation strong with your lifelong vitality, your probiotics, your PB Restore, your PB Assist, or your VMG, so whatever pathway you choose, that nutrition is good. If you don't sleep one night and you take a block out, if you're stressed and things have been overwhelming at home, if you didn't you were exposed to a bunch of toxins because you were at someone's house that was burning a candle, you can start pulling things out and the Jenga game might topple over. But what happens is that base stays strong. And so you're not starting from rock bottom. When we start to hit rock bottom, we start forgetting our supplements. We start forgetting to eat healthy. And then we do hit rock bottom. So we then need to start pulling in our essential oils as we've started to lose some things from here and here to support the body, to calm the central nervous system, to reduce inflammation, to support that digestion, to bring you back into focus, to bring that balance in. And so as we're doing that, the body starts to feel safer and starts to feel like that base and the bottom of that Jenga game is so solid and connected. And it starts to build itself back up. And you guys can probably think of the game of Jenga where you're like, how is this hanging on? There's so many things being taken from the top, but with that strong piece there, your body can just feel safe. And unlike the game of Jenga, your body starts to put those pieces back together as you start using your essential oils to fix those symptomatic things that are going on. And so when we let go and we've got that base foundation, our body can just really heal. And I find most often you don't need as many essential oils when you take care of that gut and that foundation. When your gut, which is your second brain, there's some arguments now that it's actually your first brain. When that is taken care of and it's supportive and your digestive system and your microbiome feels safe, the rest of your body feels great. And so I will just share a really quick piece on that. I was one of the people to test out the PB Restore. I didn't know what it was, but I was put on a double-blind study for it, and we had to note what different things were changing. And one of the things that I noticed out of all things, now I was on the PB Assist inconsistently. So here's like the truth about that, right? I was just taking it because I was like, oh, I should take it once in a while. But with the PB Restore, I had to take it consistently. And I noticed that even though I was in some of the most stressful times that I was going through, I didn't feel as stressed. My body wasn't going into that fight and flight. I didn't need as many adaptive capsules or as many essential oils. I went through a really stressful time pretty easily. And so when I look at things about supporting the gut and our microbiome, it just shows how important it is to our entire healing process. And so whether you decide the lifelong vitality or you decide the VMG, if you don't know the difference, some great education and training on that. We teach all about that, and there's some great things coming up. Or the digestive enzymes that are just helping you break up your food, and then the PB Assist and PB Restore. So I actually started getting consistent with the PB Assist, and the same thing was happening. I just wasn't consistent. So it's good to know that these are really good things that are helping you. So when you feel like you're starting to have things fall apart, don't stop that foundation. And that's it, guys. This is your journey. And so pick one blend, pick one piece that we've talked about today, and notice how you feel. Find that thing that makes you feel joy, that makes you feel relaxed. It isn't about doing things perfectly. You've heard us both say we mess up on things here and there, but consistency is key, and having those tools and always remembering to go back to them to support your body, to support your emotions, and then supporting your entire life. Your body isn't working against you, even though sometimes we think it might be. It's not. It's responding to what it's given or what it's not given. So as you're going through all of this, just remember we've got lots of tools, and if one isn't working, switch it, pick to the next, personalize it, and then reach out to the person that invited you here, because you might have some more specific questions. We can answer some questions at the end, but about like, I've tried this, and it didn't work, or what is this that you're talking about? And they can show you, how to navigate that. If you've just randomly jumped on and you want to reach out to myself or Carolyn and you don't have someone that's connected with you, then reach out to us. You have our contact information, but we will open up. Carolyn, do you have anything else you want to end with? I don't know if we missed anything. And then
No,
we'll open up the
Yeah,
floor.
I think we covered most of it. So yeah, no, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We will open up the floor to questions. I know you guys had some great comments about how the sense of smell was powerful to you. Any questions for us?